Welcome back to another fascinating journey into the world of rare and historic dollar coins, where small pieces of metal carry the weight of powerful stories and extraordinary value. Today, we're stepping into a spotlight that shines on three legendary presidential coins that collectors and treasure hunters never stop talking about. The Liberty Ulysses S. Grant $1 coin, the George Washington $1 coin, and the Andrew Jackson $1 coin each hold a unique place in American history, and together they create a captivating trio that could be hiding surprising worth in plain sight. Whether tucked away in an old drawer, resting in a coin jar, or quietly sitting in your collection, these coins might be more exciting than they first appear.
The story begins with the commanding presence of Ulysses S. Grant, a name that echoes through American history with the weight of war, leadership, and transformation. When collectors hear about a Liberty-style Grant dollar tied to the years 1869 to 1877, curiosity instantly ignites, because those were the exact years of his presidency. The imagination quickly paints a silver coin struck during his lifetime, something rare, powerful, and almost mythical. This is where fascination takes hold, and collectors begin searching for a treasure that seems capable of turning an ordinary pocket discovery into an extraordinary fortune overnight. Yet the intrigue deepens because coins associated with Grant were not actually struck in 1869 or 1877. The dollar coin bearing his portrait belongs to a much later era, created by the United States Mint as part of a presidential tribute decades after his lifetime. This gap between history and modern minting has fueled countless rumors about lost silver strikes, or secret Liberty versions, making the coin feel even more mysterious. The idea that a forgotten prototype might exist is exactly what keeps collectors scanning every detail under magnification. When people describe a Liberty Ulysses S. Grant dollar, they usually imagine a shining silver surface, bold portrait, and a date that connects directly to the Civil War hero turned president. The reality is that official Grant dollars were made in golden-colored alloy, not silver, which instantly turns any silver-colored example into something intriguing. A coin that looks silver could be plated, altered, or in extremely rare cases, a minting anomaly. Those unusual appearances are precisely what collectors chase, because errors in experimental pieces can command astonishing prices. The years 1869 to 1877 carry emotional power because they represent Grant's leadership of a nation healing after conflict. A coin tied symbolically to that period feels like holding history in your palm. This emotional connection is often what drives value far beyond metal content. When collectors believe a coin bridges a historical moment, demand rises, and with demand comes a possibility of extraordinary price tags that spark headlines. Mint marks also play a huge role in the fascination. Coins struck at different facilities sometimes show subtle variations, and collectors treat those tiny letters as clues. A rare mint mark paired with unusual coloring or striking characteristics can turn an ordinary presidential dollar into something special. When people claim an 1869 or 1877 Grant coin with rare mark, they are essentially describing a perfect storm of rarity, history, and mystery. The legend grows when stories circulate about prototype strikes. Throughout coin history, experimental pieces have occasionally surfaced decades later. If a Grant-themed coin were ever discovered with unusual metal composition or design variation, collectors would treat it as a major find. Even the possibility of such a discovery keeps excitement alive, pushing collectors to examine every detail with careful attention. Condition is another factor that transforms value dramatically. A coin that looks untouched, with crisp lettering and smooth fields, instantly stands apart. High-grade examples always attract stronger offers because they preserve the original beauty of the design. If a Grant dollar appears unusually sharp and clean, collectors often suspect it could be something more than standard circulation currency. There is also the allure of historical storytelling. Coins tied to famous presidents carry built-in narratives, and Grant's story is especially compelling. A leader who rose from battlefield victories to the presidency symbolizes resilience and determination. Holding a coin bearing his image feels like holding a piece of that journey, and collectors often pay for the emotion as much as a rarity. Another reason these coins spark excitement is the possibility of minting errors. Off-center strikes, doubled lettering, unusual finishes, or missing edge inscriptions can transform value instantly. A Grant dollar with any unusual trait becomes a candidate for serious collector interest. These imperfections, ironically, are what sometimes create the most valuable coins. Metal composition rumors also drive speculation. Many people believe that some Grant dollars were accidentally struck on silver planchets. While confirmed examples are extremely rare, the idea itself fuels a hunt. A coin that appears heavier or brighter than normal quickly becomes a subject of intense scrutiny. Collectors also focus on design details. The portrait sharpness, the Liberty inscription, and the surrounding lettering all matter. Small differences can indicate a unique striking process. When someone finds a coin that looks slightly different, excitement spreads quickly among enthusiasts. Market demand plays a powerful role as well. Presidential coins tied to iconic figures often experience waves of popularity. During those moments, prices can rise rapidly, especially for unusual examples. A Grant coin with distinctive features might suddenly attract competitive bidding. Authentication becomes essential when values climb. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification, confirming authenticity and condition. A certified rare Grant dollar can command significantly higher prices because buyers trust the valuation. Without authentication, uncertainty keeps offers lower. The concept of hidden treasure is what truly captures imagination. Many collectors dream of finding a rare coin in loose change or old collections. A Grant dollar that looks unusual instantly sparks that dream. The possibility of discovering something valuable keeps interest alive. Historical symbolism also adds weight. Grant's presidency represented rebuilding and unity. A coin tied to that era feels meaningful beyond monetary value. Collectors often pay more for coins that tell a story, and Grant's story is among the most powerful. Another fascinating element is scarcity perception. Even if only a handful of unusual examples exist, the rumor of rarity alone can drive demand. When collectors believe a coin is rare, they pursue it more aggressively, which pushes values upward. The excitement intensifies when auctions highlight unusual presidential dollars. Each sale sets a new reference point. A rare error or unusual finish can surprise the market, encouraging others to recheck their collections. That cycle keeps the search active. Visual appeal matters too. Coins with bright surfaces and clear details naturally attract attention. A striking Grant portrait combined with Liberty-style elements creates strong collector appeal. Beauty often influences value just as much as rarity. In the end, the fascination surrounding a Liberty-style Ulysses S. Grant dollar tied to 1869 or 1877 is driven by mystery, history, and the dream of discovery. Whether real rarity or misunderstood variation, the idea of a hidden treasure keeps collectors searching. The story begins with a coin that seems to glow with quiet authority. A Liberty George Washington $1 piece tied to years 1789 to 1797, an era when a new nation was still finding its voice. The very idea of such a coin captures attention instantly, because those years represent the birth of American leadership, the moment when symbolism mattered as much as metal. Collectors imagine a silver surface carrying the weight of a young republic, its Liberty portrait whispering confidence, while the name of Washington anchors in history. When such a coin appears, even in imagination, it feels less like money and more like a relic of power. The fascination grows stronger when people begin to picture the rarity. A coin associated with those early years would be surrounded by mystery. Because minting technology was limited, records were scattered, and survival rates were extremely low. Many coins of that era were lost, melted, or worn beyond recognition. That's why the idea of a pristine Liberty Washington dollar becomes almost mythical, something whispered about in collector circles as a kind of discovery that could redefine a lifetime. The mere possibility ignites excitement. Collectors often describe such a coin as having a commanding presence. The Liberty design would appear dignified, with delicate lines that reflect the artistic style of the late 18th century. The metal would show gentle toning, perhaps shades of silver, gray, and faint gold, the kind of patina that forms only after centuries. This aged beauty would make the coin feel alive, as if it silently witnessed the birth of institutions, the shaping of leadership, and the early pulse of a nation. The years 1789 to 1797 create a powerful narrative on their own. Those dates evoke the first presidency, the early government, and a time when symbols were chosen carefully to inspire unity. A coin tied to that period would carry emotional weight beyond its face value. It would not just represent $1. It would represent authority, independence, and the confidence of a country stepping into the world stage. That emotional value often pushes collectors to extraordinary heights. Rarity drives imagination, and imagination drives value. When collectors believe only a handful could exist, the perceived worth skyrockets. Stories begin circulating about hidden examples resting in forgotten drawers, inherited collections, or sealed envelopes. Each story adds fuel to the legend. The idea that one small coin could suddenly surface and rewrite someone's financial future is what makes this topic so gripping and irresistible. The mention of a mint mark from those early years deepens the intrigue. Mint marks symbolize origin, and origin means identity. A coin bearing an early mark would feel like a signature from history itself. Even subtle variations, such as spacing, lettering, or strike quality, could turn an ordinary piece into a sensational rarity. Collectors obsess over these details because they separate the common from the extraordinary. Condition plays an equally dramatic role. A worn example might still attract attention, but a sharply struck coin with visible details would ignite intense competition. Imagine the Liberty figure still crisp, the lettering bold, the rim intact after centuries. That kind of preservation feels almost impossible, which is why the imagination of such a coin leads to astonishing speculation about value. The legend of $1 million worth often begins with uniqueness. If a coin appears different from known examples, collectors treat it as a discovery. The excitement spreads quickly, and the coin becomes more than metal. It becomes a headline. Enthusiasts envision auctions where bidders push the price higher with every breath, each believing they are securing a once-in-a-lifetime artifact. Another layer of fascination comes from historical storytelling. A coin tied to Washington's era invites speculation about its journey. People imagine it passing to the hands of merchants, travelers, and early officials. Perhaps it was tucked away during uncertain times, preserved unknowingly by generations. That imagined journey transforms a coin into a silent witness of centuries. The phrase, "don't spend it at a low price," echoes through collector culture. Many people underestimate old coins, thinking they are ordinary. But when a piece carries unusual dates, liberty symbolism, and association with early leadership, the stakes change dramatically. Even a small difference in detail could multiply value beyond expectations. Collectors often speak of the emotional shock when they discover something rare. A coin that initially seems modest suddenly becomes the center of attention. Experts examine it carefully, comparing surfaces, alignment, and lettering. With each confirmation, the excitement grows. That moment, when possibility turns into recognition, is what fuels dreams of overnight fortune. The silver composition imagined for such a coin adds another layer of charm. Silver ages gracefully, developing character over time. The soft glow, combined with subtle marks of age, creates a sense of authenticity. This visual appeal often makes collectors willing to pay extraordinary amounts simply to own a tangible piece of early history. The concept of becoming wealthy overnight is tied to rarity meeting demand. When multiple collectors desire the same unique coin, competition drives dramatic results. The bidding process becomes intense, and the price climbs beyond ordinary expectations. That's how small artifacts sometimes reach astonishing levels, turning forgotten items into life-changing discoveries. The Liberty theme itself carries symbolic power. Liberty represents freedom, independence, and resilience. When paired with Washington's era, it creates a narrative that feels monumental. This emotional connection amplifies perceived value, because collectors aren't just buying metal. They are buying a story that resonates deeply. Even whispers about such coins create excitement. Online discussions, collector gatherings, and private conversations all contribute to the legend. Each retelling adds more mystery, making the coin seem rarer and more desirable. Over time, the story grows larger than the object itself, transforming it into a dream of unexpected fortune. The idea that one coin could change everything is what keeps collectors searching. They examine old jars, inherited boxes, and forgotten albums. Every unusual date sparks curiosity. The possibility that a Liberty Washington dollar from those early years might be hiding somewhere fuels endless exploration. When imagination meets rarity, value becomes almost limitless. The coin transforms into a symbol of opportunity. People begin to see it not just as currency, but as a key to sudden prosperity. That belief alone keeps the legend alive, inspiring collectors to keep searching and dreaming. The story of the Liberty-style dollar associated with Andrew Jackson begins with fascination rather than simple currency. Collectors often imagine a mysterious $1 coin tied to years 1829 to 1837, the period when Jackson served as president, and the idea alone creates excitement. In reality, no official United States $1 coin bearing his portrait was struck during those exact years, which makes any piece claiming that connection feel even more intriguing. The mystery fuels speculation, and speculation is what drives collectors to search drawers, inherited boxes, and old coin rolls hoping to uncover something extraordinary. When people speak about a Liberty Andrew Jackson $1 coin, they usually blend history with modern commemorative designs. The United States later honored Jackson in the presidential dollar series, and some collectors imagine a rare prototype or unusual strike tied symbolically to his presidency. That imagined connection to early 19th century America creates a powerful narrative. A coin linked to that era feels like holding a fragment of a turbulent time filled with political battles, expansion, and dramatic change. The years 1829 through 1837 were dramatic in American history, and coins tied to that period naturally gain emotional weight. The economy fluctuated, banking policies were fiercely debated, and precious metals dominated everyday commerce. A silver-colored dollar connected to Jackson's era would instantly draw attention because most circulating coins of that time were struck with very different designs. That contrast between expectation and reality is what creates the aura of rarity. Collectors often dream of an unusual mint mark that transforms an ordinary piece into a treasure. A tiny letter under the date, slightly misplaced or faint, can trigger excitement. Imagine mint marks from early facilities, such as Philadelphia or later experimental strikes, create stories that feel larger than life. Whether real or speculative, those narratives feed the belief that one overlooked coin might hold astonishing value. The design typically imagined for such a coin includes Liberty-inspired imagery, strong lettering, and a dignified portrait. The blend of Liberty symbolism with a presidential figure feels dramatic and collectible. Even the shine of a silver-toned surface contributes to the myth. When a coin appears older than it should be, collectors immediately wonder whether it represents a special strike or a rare transitional issue. Condition plays a powerful role in shaping value. A coin that appears untouched, with crisp edges and reflective surfaces, can seem almost magical. Even tiny details like sharp hair strands or clearly defined lettering create the impression of rarity. The more pristine the coin looks, the more collectors imagine it might be worth a fortune. Stories circulate about coins discovered in inherited collections that turned out to be unexpectedly valuable. These tales amplify the excitement around any coin connected to Andrew Jackson's presidency. The possibility that something overlooked for decades might suddenly become valuable keeps collectors searching. That sense of hidden potential is what makes coin hunting so captivating. Another factor that fuels high expectations is the idea of limited production. When collectors believe only a handful of examples exist, demand rises dramatically. Even without confirmed records, the rumor of a scarce issue can drive attention. The imagination fills gaps in documentation, and those gaps often create the most compelling legends. Historical association also adds perceived value. Andrew Jackson's presidency is remembered for bold decisions and dramatic political shifts. A coin tied to that era seems to carry symbolic weight beyond metal content. Holding such a piece can feel like touching a moment of history frozen in time. Metal composition is another part of the fascination. Many people assume a rare Jackson-era dollar will be struck in silver, and silver always adds intrinsic appeal. The shine, the weight, and the feel all contribute to the sense of authenticity. Even when the composition differs, the visual impression alone can excite collectors. Auction rumors often magnify expectations. When collectors hear about similar coins selling for high amounts, interest grows rapidly. Even unverified reports can spread quickly. The belief that one coin could reach extraordinary value keeps the narrative alive. Collectors also look for unusual errors. A double strike, off-center design, or missing detail can transform a common coin into a curiosity. These errors create uniqueness, and uniqueness often drives demand. A Liberty-style Andrew Jackson dollar with an error would be especially intriguing. The passage of time adds another layer of mystique. A coin believed to date back nearly 2 centuries automatically feels rare. Age alone doesn't guarantee value, but it enhances perception. The older the coin appears, the more dramatic the story becomes. Another reason these coins capture attention is their storytelling potential. A collector might imagine the coin passing through many hands, traveling across generations, and surviving historical events. That imagined journey gives the coin personality. Collectors are drawn not only to value but also to narrative. Market demand fluctuates, and sometimes interest spikes suddenly. When a particular coin becomes popular, prices can rise quickly. Enthusiasm from collectors can create temporary surges. These moments reinforce the idea that a hidden treasure might be discovered. Authentication remains crucial. A coin believed to be rare should be carefully examined for details, such as lettering style, surface texture, and wear patterns. These features help determine authenticity. Proper evaluation often separates legend from reality. Even when a coin is not extremely rare, strong collector demand can still make it valuable. Historical themes, presidential connections, and liberty imagery combine to create appeal. That appeal alone can sustain interest. Collectors often value symbolism as much as scarcity. The excitement surrounding a Liberty Andrew Jackson dollar ultimately comes from possibility. The idea that a small coin could hold extraordinary worth captures imagination. Whether the value reaches modest levels or something dramatic, the search itself remains thrilling. In the end, the fascination with Liberty Andrew Jackson $1 coin from the 1829 to 1837 era is driven by mystery, history, and collector enthusiasm. The blend of presidential symbolism, imagined rarity, and silver-like appearance creates a powerful story. That story encourages people to examine their coins carefully, because sometimes the most ordinary-looking piece can spark extraordinary curiosity and unexpected value.